Well, nothing here is free, the woman said, shrugging, but we're always looking for people who can sell. Do you have anything you can offer? Delilah took a moment to consider. She had only asked if there was anything she could sample. She was broke, but had always loved this place. You can take your time to think it over. The place ain't going anywhere, she heard the woman saying as she was deep in thought. I have a few ideas, she responded, full well knowing that the moment the woman had asked her, she had had more than a million ideas running through her mind at once. Well, put a plan together and come back. In the meantime, unfortunately, there is nothing we can give you as a sample. But just for today, I'm gonna treat you to something nice. Pick one thing, anything you want. She knew exactly what she wanted before the woman had even asked, and smiled. It wasn't the most expensive item on their menu, nor was it the most popular, but it had always been her favorite. She took small sips of the bright pink milkshake, while the lady explained to her exactly how everything ran. Currently, there was still a lot of space open in the store. For the time being, they had filled it with random knickknacks to avoid people seeing them as just empty spots that might be, even if only subconsciously, off-putting to customers. This place is absolutely huge, and it also helps that the people who do sell here all have small businesses that don't take up a lot of space, she continued. And there's also the golden rule. The golden rule? Yes, the golden rule is that whatever your business, whatever you end up doing, it is not allowed for it to compete with other businesses in here. And that's understandable, she said, thoughtfully. But it's more than that. You need to take others into consideration and try to find something that will benefit the other businesses around you. She thought it over. In the long run, that will be good for your own business as well, she concluded. Exactly, the shop lady exclaimed. It's awesome that you also came to that conclusion. My name's Krista, by the way. What's yours? I'm Delilah, she said, not shaking the woman's hand, but giving a pleasant wave in her direction. She sat down at the small, pastel-colored table with her own drink now, a bright purple latte. Man, I wish someone would open a bakery or something around here, she said, staring sadly at her coffee. I'd open one, but I don't have the time to manage something like that. Plus, I can't bake, she laughed. Me neither. But it would be nice to have a snack along with the cool drinks from here, Delilah said. Right? Even a takeaway place would be great. You know, I bet if you talked to the shop owner, she'd give you the startup capital for something like that. Really? Because if that's the case, then I know exactly what to do, she said excitedly. Oh, tell me everything. I'll tell you tomorrow. First, I gotta go home and bargain with my parents. If you can ask the shop owner if she'll talk to me, you can sit in on the presentation, she promised. You got it. Be here tomorrow at 6. That's around the time that we close, she said. I'll be here. Thanks, Krista, for everything, she said. It's my pleasure. After all, I had some help when I was just starting out too. That's how I know that she'll fund your idea. She did with mine. Bye, kid, she waved at her, smiling. That night, she didn't sleep. The long and difficult meeting with her parents had ended in them saying that she had 6 months to make her business venture into a success. She agreed that if it didn't work out, she'd go back to school and get a GED, followed by some proper qualifications. I'd really rather you still get one, her father said. Not that many people have the opportunity you do now. Most people can't just go back to school and have their parents pay for everything. I know, and I'm really glad that you guys are supporting me. But I always knew that I wasn't going to pursue higher education, even if I did end up finishing high school at least. But I'll get a GED, I promise. Just not right now. All right, her mother said. We'll support you then. I think you should go work on your presentation in the morning. And she did, except she did so all through the night. A few hours before her scheduled meeting, she took a nap, washed up, and got ready. She was at the arcade for about half an hour before the place started closing down for the day. She met the shop owner, Katie, and presented her idea for a little nook of the business devoted to vending machines. I would also like the right to sell books here, she said. Why books? Asked Katie, though she seemed interested enough. I feel like people enjoy sitting and reading books in a cafe. It will work in Krista's favor. Secondhand books at first, and eventually, when I get to a point where the shop is more popular, I will start selling my own. You've written books? Asked the owner. I have enough short stories for a collection, possibly multiple. I want to write full-time, but until now, school has kept me too busy. If I'm in the shop during the day, I can write here a little, and full-time when I get home. If I don't have homework or projects to worry about, that frees up a lot of time. You guys have set hours, and I can schedule around that. What kind of vending machines would you have? I'm thinking a few different types, both sweet and savory snacks. Prepackaged desserts would be great. I don't want to sell drinks though, that would hinder Krista. Besides, she already sells sodas and bottled water. True, but they are more expensive in her shop, argued Katie. Yes, but in her shop, people aren't just paying for the drink, but for everything around it. The atmosphere, the aesthetics. Even if it's just a soft drink, she spends a lot of time and effort into making everything look beautiful. If I sold the same drinks for less, people wouldn't appreciate that as much. Well, I think it's a great idea. If there are more things you think of, let us know. There are some people who want to start doing things here, but they don't really know what to be doing exactly, said Katie. I did think of that, but I felt I should stick to one or two ideas. Actually, I thought it would be great if the arcade theme could be expanded. Right now, people can play games for entertainment, but if they could play games for tickets or prizes, I think that would bring in more people. Claw machines, fun prizes for tickets, people get really excited about those. If you put the claw machines near the entrance, more people who are just passing by with their kids will stop just for that, since it doesn't take as long just to play a round or two with them. You'd rather we put those outside instead of your vending machines? Katie asked, clearly testing her now. I think the vending machines will profit more in here. There's already lots of food stalls and a grocery store in the mall. People don't come here all the way to the mall just to get snacks from a vending machine. It would compete with the other places unnecessarily. But in here, she gestured towards the arcade section. People spend their entire Saturday and sometimes Sundays here. If they know their snacks and drinks, they're more likely to just eat here. True. I think the only things we might still need are places that sell things that fit with the theme of the arcade, which is definitely the central point of the shop, as well as maybe a takeaway place. If people can get takeaways and sit down at Krista's shop for a drink and use the free Wi-Fi, they're likely to stay for quite a long time. A high-end restaurant wouldn't work with a customer base around here, but a place that has some quick-to-go options would be very popular. The next day, she and Katie went out shopping for vending machines, and she showed her a few of the short stories she intended to sell in the shop. The day after that, she went about collecting as many secondhand books as she could find. People who didn't read them anymore, people who had old ones they had forgotten about, people who begrudgingly parted with them in exchange for discount coupons that Krista had blessed her with. She knew that sending other people there would be better for both of their businesses in the end. After a week, everything was set up, and a little space in a corner was cleared out for her. She spent the next 2 days decorating and setting up her computer and cash register. She printed out and laminated a list of prices for the books she arranged on rustic, second-hand bookshelves that she insisted on getting. She was especially excited about the vending machines. There was only one that sold prepackaged desserts, one that sold chips and other savory snacks, one that sold chocolate and candy. She wanted one more to round things out, but had been unable to decide exactly what to get yet, so it settled on just the 3. For the time being, she filled up the space that the extra machine would take up with a large raffle prize. People would put in just about anything they wanted and get a ticket for free. The person who got the ticket would win whatever was in the raffle. At the end of the day, she intended to go through it to make sure no one threw junk or trash in there. Her first morning there, she was too excited to write, although she had her computer set up to be able to do so if there was a lull in the shop. She hadn't expected customers immediately, but it turned out that pretty much everybody was glad to see the new machines, curious and dazzled and happy that they could spend the day there instead of having to leave to a more expensive restaurant somewhere else in the mall. She enthusiastically told customers that There was talk of a takeaway place opening up right across from her, and they loved the idea. Krista had evidently spread the word of the secondhand bookshop to many of her own clients, who were exceedingly interested in what types of books she had to offer. Her first sale happened in less than an hour of opening, and before the day was over, she had heard over a dozen ideas from customers who were interested in particular types of shops opening. Most commonly, people wanted a fast food or sandwich shop. Some were interested in collectibles and memorabilia, and interestingly enough, quite a few people wanted an art shop, preferably one that sold both supplies and finished works. She immediately thought of some friends who could work wonders with the suggestions provided. When she was busy closing up for the day, Krista came over to help show her what to do with the money in the cash register and to make sure her security was on point. Katie also showed up, though she was told that this was not an everyday occurrence. "I can't thank you two enough," she said. "Krista, for taking a chance on a random high schooler who just wanted a sample," she said, laughing a bit. "And Katie, for everything, for creating the space to begin with. Feels like there's just a bit of everything in the store. All sorts of people really enjoy coming here." "That was my vision for this place," Katie said as Krista put her arm around Delilah's shoulder for a hug. "And it's not done yet. Before the year is out, I want this store filled with all kinds of shops and businesses that anyone and everyone in the arcade can benefit from and enjoy. The takeaway place will be one of our best additions." They all went out to another place in the mall that stayed open until later, a place they decided they'd probably frequent whenever there was a celebration. It was a small, greasy diner. Katie wanted to apologize for not taking them to a nicer place, but both Krista and Delilah insisted that they loved diners. Delilah for burgers and Krista for all things breakfast, which they served all day. That night, all three women individually dreamt their dreams. Krista of her pastel cafe, seeing people come dressed in pastel goth and Lolita outfits just to match the aesthetic. Delilah of rows and rows of vending machines, and Katie of scores of people swarming in to each file into their own beloved, fun little shop in all nooks and crannies of the store that she had started renting at the huge mall.